You just bumped your thermostat up half a degree. You felt a tiny chill at 21 degrees Celsius, so you grabbed your phone to complain that your hot coffee delivery was 7 minutes late. Under your feet, underfloor heating warms the room. In your hand, a thermal mug. Above your head, a sealed double-paned window, keeping the winter outside. Now pull yourself out of that warm room. Strip away the brick walls. Strip away the power grid. Strip away the lighter in your pocket. Drop yourself 40,000 years back in time, directly onto the last glacial maximum of the Eurasian steppe, minus 40 degrees. The Arctic blizzard strikes your face like a blunt blade. Endless pitch-black darkness stretches in every direction. The air freezes so fast that every single breath feels like glass shards entering your lungs. Your body heat drains at a rate of 1 degree every 60 seconds. Out on that frozen tundra, if you fail to find shelter, you lose sensation in your fingers within 30 minutes. Within an hour, your blood thickens. 2 hours later, your body becomes a frozen block of ice. This cold snap was not an unexpected disaster. This freezing night was the brutal daily reality your ancestors endured every single winter for tens of thousands of years. Here is the truth. Biologically speaking, humans have no business surviving winter. We are tropical primates from equatorial Africa. 300,000 years ago, evolution sculpted human bodies under the blazing African sun. Humans lack a 10-centimeter layer of subcutaneous blubber like a polar bear. Humans lack a dense, double-layered coat of fur like a woolly mammoth. Humans lack fur that turns white with the winter snow like an Arctic hare. Human beings possess only bare skin and a remarkably fragile system for regulating temperature. Physics shows no mercy to a hairless ape. Heat leaves your body through conduction, convection, and radiation. When the surrounding temperature drops below freezing, your metabolic rate must double just to keep your internal core at 37 degrees Celsius. Drop below 35, and hypothermia takes over. Your brain stumbles, your muscles refuse commands. Drop below 30, and your heart fails. Our ancestors were tropical mammals trapped in an Arctic freezer. So how did these hairless apes conquer the frozen continents? Not through biological evolution, but through a ruthless chain of technological inventions. The first killer every primitive human faced was the freezing wind. Draping a loose animal hide over your shoulders simply fails. Freezing wind slices through the gaps, evaporating your sweat and turning moisture into a shell of ice right against your skin. Humans needed clothing that wrapped tightly around the body to seal out the wind completely. In 1966, inside Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains of Siberia, Russian archaeologist Mikhail Shunkov excavated a tool buried deep in prehistoric dirt. Shunkov unearthed a slender 7-centimeter needle crafted from a bird's bone. At the end of that bird bone was a drilled eye, less than 1 millimeter across. Dated to roughly 50,000 years ago, that polished bird bone was one of the most powerful technological breakthroughs in human history. Using a bird bone needle and thread crafted from animal sinew, humans unlocked the art of tailoring. Early humans stopped merely draping animal skins. They began cutting reindeer and Arctic fox hides into precise patterns, sewing those hides into fitted trousers, jackets, mittens, and hooded parkas. At the Sungir site in Russia, archaeologists excavated 34,000-year-old burials. The buried hunters wore tailored fur parkas and trousers, decorated with thousands of hand-carved mammoth ivory beads. That tiny bone needle created a portable, windproof envelope of tropical warmth that humans could wear across the tundra. Now, keeping warm on the move was only half the struggle. How do you survive a 6-month polar night on a treeless plain? Without timber, how do you build a home? How do you light a fire? The answer sounds like something out of a myth. Humans built homes out of giant skeletons. In 1965, in the Ukrainian village of Mezyrich, a farmer digging a cellar uncovered a massive fossilized bone. Archaeologist Ivan Podoplichko stepped in and excavated 4 massive circular structures built 15,000 years ago. Those shelters contained 0 timber. The walls were constructed entirely from the skeletons of 149 woolly mammoths. Our ancestors interlocked heavy mammoth jawbones like bricks to form windproof walls. They raised massive leg bones as vertical pillars and arched giant tusks to form roof beams, stretching heavy animal hides and earth across the top. Those structures were bone fortresses built from the remains of prehistoric giants. On the treeless steppe, these hunters even burned mammoth bones for warmth. By pouring melted animal fat over marrow-rich bones, hunters produced a slow, smoldering fire that kept the interior above freezing through the darkest polar nights. Then came an even greater threat. Winter nutrition. During the Ice Age winter, all plant life died beneath the snow. Only meat remained. Yet eating purely lean meat leads straight to organ failure. The human liver cannot process massive amounts of protein without fat, causing a fatal condition called rabbit starvation. Humans needed animal fat, and above all, humans needed vitamin C. Without vitamin C, scurvy sets in within weeks. Your gums bleed, old wounds reopen, and blood vessels rupture. Without a single fruit or vegetable on the frozen tundra, ancient humans invented radical dietary survival strategies. Hunters cut open the stomachs of freshly killed reindeer to harvest chyme, a fermented slurry of half-digested moss and lichen. That stomach slurry tasted harsh, but that slurry provided their only source of vital vitamin C. Hunters smashed every animal long bone they could find, throwing bone fragments into water-filled hide pouches heated with red-hot river stones. That process boiled out every drop of bone grease and marrow. Hunters stuffed organ meats and fat into leather bags, burying those bags deep in the permafrost to ferment into long-lasting winter rations. Those extreme survival methods were the only reason our ancestors didn't starve in the dark. Here lies a profound, counterintuitive truth. Biologically, Neanderthals were far better built for the cold than our direct Homo sapiens ancestors. Neanderthals possessed broader chests, shorter limbs, and larger nasal cavities to warm freezing air before that air reached their lungs. Homo sapiens were long-limbed, fragile tropical mammals, yet, when the coldest climate spikes hit the planet, Neanderthals went extinct. Homo sapiens survived. Why? Because Neanderthals relied on biology, wrapping loose hides over their shoulders. Homo sapiens relied on precise microtechnological innovation. That tiny bone needle outmatched hundreds of thousands of years of biological evolution. Ice Age survival was never just a story of lone hunters shivering in dark caves. Winter forced early humans to build the world's first global survival network. Isolated bands could not survive winter alone. Homo sapiens formed trade routes spanning hundreds of miles, exchanging red ochre mineral pigments for fat-rich bone marrow, sharing sewing skills, and trading migration intelligence across tribes. Those winter gathering camps were the original heat-sharing networks, a prehistoric survival cloud. Now, take a moment and look at your modern surroundings. You sit inside a climate-controlled room. You feel annoyed when a delivery driver runs 5 minutes late. You frown when the room temperature dips 1 single degree. You feel an itch of impatience when a video takes 3 seconds to load. Modern humans live in unprecedented luxury, yet we possess some of the most fragile nerves in history. Your ancestors stitched thick hides in -40-degree winds with a polished bird bone. They consumed fermented marrow inside the rib cages of extinct mammoths, surviving 300,000 years of ice to pass down the DNA sitting inside your body right now. And we lose our patience over 3 seconds of buffering. Civilization was not born in a warm, peaceful paradise. Civilization is a fierce, stubborn rebellion against the laws of thermodynamics. Civilization is the heat extracted from a mammoth bone. Civilization is thread pulled through a bone needle. Civilization is a human voice shouting no into the freezing dark. We are not fragile creatures. We are the direct descendants of the survivors who conquered the Ice Age. Take a deep breath. Feel that warmth moving through your body. That heat is the sound of 300,000 years of beating the winter.